Story 1. I'm Mike, 31, living in Central Ohio, small town called Fairview. I work the overnight shift at a 24-hour roadside diner on the edge of town. I'm alone most nights, just me, the neon sign flicker, slow cars passing, and sometimes things I can't explain. I never used this name before in any story or thing. I don't want it tied to online. I know this sounds crazy, but I've got to tell someone. So, night 1. I remember slipping into the diner at 11 p.m. exactly, zipping up my apron, brewing coffee. The front windows had condensation. I went straight to the register, thinking I'd just flip burgers and keep busy. Then I heard a tapping from the kitchen door. It was the faintest tapping, like somebody drumming nails softly. I thought maybe my coworker Jody forgot something, but she didn't work this shift. So I shrugged, messed with my phone, the usual. An hour passes with nothing. Then the tapping comes again. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but it was regular, rhythm like a heartbeat. I went through to check, and the back door that leads to the alley was cracked open, maybe an inch. I couldn't tell if I left it that way or someone else. I closed it, locked it. I felt nervous, chest tight, but thought, great, I'm overreacting. It's a diner, people mess up, things escalate slowly. I get an order, 2 cheeseburgers, fries. I go to grill, hear whispering behind me, barely audible. I spun around, empty station. I know this sounds crazy, but I swear I could have sworn a voice said, "Help me." I backed away, spat out the patty I was flipping. My hands trembled. I told myself, "You're tired, working nights, fine." I try to shake it off, calling my friend Dan on speaker, so I'm not really alone. We chat about nonsense, football, his new baby, but I kept scanning mirrors, reflections. The hall light at the kitchen end flickered. I thought maybe the bulb was dying, but the flicker seemed to follow me. It wasn't random. I forced myself back to work. Halfway through shift, I heard what sounded like humming, drowned out by fryer noise, but soft. Again, I went to investigate. There was a small smear of something dark on the floor by the cooler, red-tinted, not quite blood, but suspicious. I knelt and sniffed. Hardware cleaner, maybe coffee, I dunno. I mopped it and scrubbed, but my mind kept racing. I told myself, maybe I knocked a pepper shaker, spilled paprika, and coffee dripped. Then the weirdest thing, I glanced at the dining area window and saw my own reflection. Except it wasn't my face. It was pale, eyes darker, mouth slightly open. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but in that second reflection, my head tilted oddly, like some stranger mimicking me. I rubbed my eyes, looked again. Normal. I sighed, white sweat from my brow, heart pounding. Later, I found something else. I was stocking napkins by the restroom when I discovered footprints in dusty tile. Bare footprints, size smaller than mine. red tinged. Paige, who cleans in the mornings, said she closed and cleaned everything. Nobody else should have been there. I couldn't explain it. I felt sick. I went into the restroom stall and puked. I thought I sucked it up, went back to the counter. Around 3 a.m., the only regular customer showed up. This old woman, hunched, hair in curlers, ordering coffee and pie. She looked at me with watery eyes, but she said nothing. She stared for a long minute, then whispered, "You're not alone." I slammed the cup down and said sorry and didn't take payment. She left without another word. I didn't check the plate. It was clean except a smudged fingerprint in the syrup. The rest of shift was empty. I left at 6 a.m. I drove home in silence. Mind buzzing, blood sugar low, adrenaline still high. I showered, tried to sleep, but kept picturing that face in the reflection. That strange old woman whispering at me. Next night, I take the shift again. I dreaded it, but I needed money. Around midnight, the noises start again. A door creak, cupboard slam. I told myself it was pipes, something shifting. I hear the tapping again, soft, rhythmic, like someone counting. I go check. Back door still cracked open. I locked it again. I left the diner's lights on, flicked neon signs so bright my eyes hurt. I didn't want any hiding spot. At about 2 a.m., I see blood. Real blood this time, smeared across the back door handle. Dark red, glistening. I nearly screamed. I snapped a pic on my phone, but photo never saved. I text Dan, "Don't freak, but there's blood here." He answered 3 minutes later, "Call police." I grabbed the phone, dialed 911. They came, searched kitchen, dumpster, parking lot. Found nothing and no one. They said maybe I dropped something or rodents. I shook. I told them I must be tired. That night home, I toss and turn. Maybe I'm going crazy. I debated quitting, but I went back. Third night, I tried to avoid looking at mirrors. At about 1:30 a.m., a body showed up in a booth. At first, I thought drunk customer, but nobody was there before. This body was face down, twisted, soaked in dark blood. I almost screamed. I ran over. It's a man, average build, but I don't recognize any uniform. No ID. A pool of blood-soaked newspapers and a grilled burger on the table. He was dead. I looked for a pulse. None. I stumbled backwards, out of breath. I don't think I yelled. I know I hit something. The cops came again. This was no joke. They say homicide. I couldn't move. My mind broke. They asked questions. I told them everything. Tapping, reflection, old woman, blood on door, footprints. They wrote it down, but their faces were blank. They said I must have imagined some of it. But the body they found was definitely real. They took me out. At the station, they asked, did I know him? No. He had no wallet, no phone, nothing. They checked cameras. Back door still cracked open. No footage. They thought it was inside job or camera blind spot. They're investigating. I can't stop replaying it. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I swear, the figure in the mirror looked back with its head cocked, like it knew me. That tapping started again in my head. I feel uneasy with every sound. Now I'm home, typing this. I quit the shift. I tried to give up that job, but part of me is angry. What was that entity or person? The murder scene, they cleaned up after hours, but the stain is still there on the table. I walked in today with the manager, saw it. Faded, but still ugly. Nobody else who spills goes away before cleaning. There's no resolution. The police haven't solved it. The body is still unidentified. I keep thinking the old woman was a warning. The reflection was a mirror of someone else. I can't sleep without checking windows. Every door I lock twice. I don't go near mirrors alone. I know this sounds crazy. I don't care. It happened. I'm telling you, that roadside diner in Fairview at night is not safe anymore. I don't know if he'll come back. I don't know what I saw. I don't even know if it was supernatural or a messed up intruder. But the blood is real. The man is dead, and I'm still alone with the story. There's no ending. Maybe I'll never know who he was, and maybe something still waits at the back door. Story 3. I'm Jake, 29, from a small suburb outside Kansas City. I've never used this name before in any writing or in forums. I know this sounds crazy, but I need to tell it. I was home alone in my townhouse. My partner was out of town for work, and I had the place to myself. No roommates, just me and the walls. I'd been catching up on work, drinking coffee, restless. I remember checking locks at 9 p.m., turning all the lights off, but leaving a lamp near the stairs so I could see. Then I heard it. Not a creak, but 3 slow thumps, like someone rapping on the front door. Not rattling the door, no doorbell sound, just thump, thump, thump from outside. I peered through the peephole. Nothing. Street dark, no car headlights. I told myself it was a neighbor, forgetful. I ignored it. Then the thumps turned to scratching. Soft, slow, coming through the front door panels. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but it sounded deliberate. A rhythm. Scratch, scratch, then pause. Scratch again. My heart hammered, hands sweating. I texted my friend Aaron. Weird noises at front door. I'm home alone. He said, call me. I hit video call, trying to keep on that call. I stepped away from the door, felt safer in the living room. But on call, I saw the curtain at the big window move slightly. I said, you see that? He said, could be wind. I told him maybe the window latch wasn't tight and wind pushing. I said I'd check. I walked over and the latch was locked. The curtain moved again. My phone pinged. Someone texted, open up. I froze, breathing heavy. On call, I stammered, Somebody just texted me. Open up. Aaron told me to call police. I dialed 911. While waiting, I saw red, blood smear on the window glass, smudged high, like someone pressed their palm up. I blinked. It looked wet. I recoiled. I told operator. They said someone would come soon. I looked around. House dark, except lamp back by stairs. I flicked on another lamp near kitchen. My legs shook. I looked back at the front. On the mat by the door, footprints, bare footprints, wet and red smudged into tile, smaller than mine. I backed off and breathed. I told myself, it's rainwater, mud. But why lock window the latch? In the call, I tried chatting to sound calm. I paced, thinking, stay calm. But tears pricked. I said, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe there's a cat or something. I heard scratch again, but behind me. I spun. Nothing. Living room chair, slightly moved, tilted, though I didn't touch. I touched it, righted it, felt unsettled. Cop car lights showed through blinds at alley side. I went to window to see. Outside, nothing. The front cops called voices inside house. You can come out. I said, okay. They searched. They found no person, no intruder. Front yard was empty. No prints outside. They chalked it up to kid messing around. Police looked at me like I might be stressed. They left. They told me to stay elsewhere that night, maybe a friend's. I stayed, but couldn't sleep. Heart pounding. Images of the bloody handprint on glass. Next morning, I walked outside. No handprint. Fur on door, but clean. They said they likely power washed. No, I cleaned nothing. I felt sick. That night, I felt compelled to go back alone. I needed answers. I locked doors, left lights on. At midnight, I heard tapping in kitchen sink. Tap. Tap. I went to check. Faucet was off, but water dripped slowly despite off position. I twisted handle. It stopped. I backed away, still looking at faucet. On counter across, I saw a knife, my chef knife, half dipped in a dark liquid. I grabbed it, almost screamed. Blood, sauce maybe? But this liquid was too deep red, too fresh looking. I sniffed and gagged. It smelled metallic, real. I yanked the blade and flicked light, drops on floor, leading into hallway. I followed slowly, gripping knife. In my master bedroom, door slightly open. I pushed it. Inside, my partner's laptop open on bed. Screen glowing. No one there. I turned and saw footprints again. Red footprints, stepping from bed to closet area. I shone light. Inside closet floor was lined with muddy, wet footprints. Smaller again, with red overtones. I thought, who the fuck is in my closet? I backed out and slammed door, locked it double. My phone rang, unknown number. I silenced it. I texted Aaron. Blood in sink, footprints, someone in closet. Stay away, he answered after 2 minutes. Call me now. I open call. I heard whisper on my speaker, not from my side. Very faint. Help! I almost hung up. But the whisper sounded intimate, distant, like someone in attic. I said, "Help!" quick and spluttered hang up. I lost signal. I heard movement upstairs. The attic fan rattled. I just stood and listened, heartbeat deafening. Then crash from upstairs. Plate smashing? I yelled and ran towards stairs. I gripped the walls. No lights upstairs. I flipped them, but bulbs dead. I heard something. Footsteps, slow descending stairs. 1, 2, 3, step behind me, like someone matching pace. I sprinted to front door. It was locked. I remembered I double locked it. I ran to window. Curtain moved again. I pulled it. Outside, nothing. I tried to smash it, but phone cut back. Cop dispatch calling to check my address. Operator saying suspicious events. They're coming again. I turned around. Back door swung open upstairs. I ran, blocking closet with dresser, grabbing bleeding smeared knife. Sirens in distance. I sat on floor in hall, crying, breathing. They knocked upstairs. Announcing, cops. I hollered, "Yes, I'm in hallway." They stormed kitchen, hall, bedroom, found nothing. No person, no forced entry. No intruder found. They said maybe someone snuck through garage. They looked confused. They said I may be hallucinating or ghost. They left again. Now I've quarantined room upstairs. I won't sleep downstairs. I leave lights on. I avoid mirrors. I swear, sometimes I catch a pale figure behind me when I glance. I hear whispers in vents. Footprints still there. I clean surface, but they reappear faintly each morning. Blood dry, smears faint on glass. I took photos. They vanish next time. I don't know who or what came through the door, or how the footprints keep returning. I don't know who texted "open up." The shadows feel alive. The whispers, maybe my mind cracking. I don't know. My partner canceled all travel and is flying home, but I keep fearing something is still here. No resolution, no body, no explanation. Just footprints, blood, and the vaguest whisper of help. Maybe I'm remembering things wrong. Maybe I'm insane. But I know the blood was real. The footprints were real. The whisper was real. Or at least something said it. Story 3. I'm Aaron, 32, from a rural edge of Asheville, North Carolina. I've never shared this anywhere before. I know this sounds crazy, but I need someone to hear it. I was home alone in our old farmhouse, my fiancé away visiting family for the weekend. I thought I'd catch up on writing and relax. Windows closed, doors locked, but something slipped in anyway. It started with soft thuds in the hall around midnight, like footsteps pacing just out of view. I paused writing, thought maybe it was the old floorboards creaking, but this was deliberate. Rhythm. I whispered into the empty house, "Hello?" Nothing. My phone buzzed. No one. Then a deeper thud, like something heavy setting down, then dragging. I grabbed my phone and called my friend Laura, kept it on speaker. I whispered, "There's something in the hall." She said it might be a raccoon or a branch falling. I told her maybe I'm being paranoid, but the pacing didn't stop. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I swear I could hear breathing, slow, ragged, behind my door. I crept to the hallway, breathing loud in my ears. The light at the far end flickered. I flicked it back on. I wanted to believe it was the bulb, but shadows stretched oddly in the empty bathroom doorway. Something dark moved. I stepped forward. Nothing, just darkness. I told Laura I was checking locks again. I double-locked front door, went back to writing, hands shaking, spilled coffee onto the desk. The smell was acrid. I wiped it, felt unsettled. Then I saw it. On the couch in the living room, a stain. A red smear, splashed, like someone dragged their palm across fabric. I froze. I know it sounds crazy, but I reached and touched it. Sticky, faint, metallic smell. I pulled my hand away, saw a bit on my fingers, tried to wash it, but it reappeared. Laura said to stop calling cops until I was sure. I stammered. "There's blood on the couch, and I wasn't... No one else here." She said she could come over. I said, "No, I'll wait." I backed away. Hours passed, no pacing, but equipment humming in the basement. Our old washer. I went downstairs, machine off, but the basement door creaked behind me. I spin. Nobody. But on the floor near the stairs, a pool of dark drip marks. I backed up fast, breath loud. I dropped my phone, picked it up. Missed call from Laura. I didn't hear ring. Above me, the kitchen window rattled. I went back up, heart hammering, thought wind. I checked latch, locked. Then peeked. There was a bloody palm mark on glass. Faint, but there. I gasped. Texted Laura, "Please come." She arrived 15 minutes later. We stood at front door. She rang bell. No answer. I showed her the couch smear, the window handprint. She touched the couch and recoiled. "Aaron, that's not coffee." She held my hand tight. We called police together. They came, checked house. They found nothing alive. They dusted for prints, found footprints on the hardwood, smaller than mine, bare, with red residue. No DNA, no intruder caught. Cameras offline upstairs. Basement entry cam blind spot. They looked unsure. They advised staying at a friend's, but I refused. I couldn't accept leaving the house alone. So they left, saying they'll investigate. We cleaned most marks, but faint stains remained next morning. I scrubbed, but they reappeared. That night, Laura stayed. We sat together. I held her tight and kept the lights on. Doors locked. But around 2 a.m., the pacing returned. Laura heard it too. It circled the living room, then paused beneath us. Then a whisper, "Help me," loud in the silent house. We froze. I got up. I wanted to see. The living room lamp flickered and died. In the darkness, I felt a presence, a figure perched at couch edge. I fumbled for flashlight. When light swept across the couch, nobody. But the red stain was deeper, soaked in. Laura gasped. It looked fresher. I looked at her. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but that stain wasn't this dark a moment ago. She nodded, whispering. Behind me, soft footstep. I spun. Nothing. The basement door slammed shut upstairs. We jumped. I swore I saw a pale figure drift away toward stairs. Then, nothing. Sirens, police came back. They searched again. Still no one. But they flagged previous night. A homicide had occurred in town. An old man murdered in his farmhouse. Twisted. They asked if I knew him. I didn't. They checked news. Unidentified body found 2 roads over. Cause: blunt trauma. Found around same hour I first heard pacing. They canvassed area. No suspects. I keep waking to dripping sounds. I've checked faucets. Off. Blood-like stains appear on walls by stairs. I clean. They return. I see footprints on porch in morning dew. Small, red smears, then vanish midday. No security cam captured anyone. The whisper inside vents say help me at quiet hours. I keep asking, is it ghost? Is it a traumatized friend in need? Or something worse? The cops left after 3 visits. They call it mystery. I can't sleep downstairs now. I stay in living room. Lights on. Never alone, even when Laura isn't there. No resolution. No figure charged. No revealed identity. The stains, whispers, grief, they remain unanswered. Maybe I'm remembering things wrong or going insane. But each mark, each noise, they're real. I'm terrified of what's still here. And worse, what if I helped it? Or what if it's coming back? I keep thinking about that first whisper, that first footprint, trying to remember everything exactly. Trying to understand if the thing that came inside that first night ever left. Every creak feels like breath. Every shadow on the wall feels wrong. I don't trust the mirrors anymore either. I swear sometimes I see the couch in the reflection, even when I'm in another room. Something's still here with me. Laura says we should leave, move, but I can't. I need to know what it was, or who it was. Maybe it was the murdered man. Maybe someone else. Maybe I'm seeing someone who isn't dead yet, but is lost. But if I leave, what if it follows? What if someone else gets hurt because I didn't stay? I'm stuck in this house, waiting for something to explain what's happened. But the only thing I get are new stains, fresh whispers, and the sound of pacing each night. Just pacing and breathing, waiting for me to open the door.